Hi, my name is Ambar Espinoza. I'm the environmental reporter at Rhode Island Public Radio in Providence, Rhode Island. A typical day for me is in the morning, checking email, reading the news. For my particular beat, I'm looking for environmental news about Rhode Island. So it could be energy news, it could be animal news. People really love animal stories. It could be climate change. That would be followed by phone calls to do those phone interviews. At Rhode Island Public Radio, because we're a really small station, all of the reporters record all of their own audio, they edit their own audio. So when I'm out in the field, I do my own recording, I come back to the studio, then editing the audio, writing the script, sending that to my editor to edit it, and then voicing it, producing it meaning like putting it all together so that it's one file, and uploading it so that it's in our airwaves. We're really going to be affected by climate change in the ocean state. And one of those stories is that our salt marshes are drowning. They're not growing at the pace that the sea is rising.
This is an example of degradation of the marsh right here. Now we're seeing sea level rise increasing at a quicker pace.
Salt marshes are really important because they act as nurseries for fish, and our state relies really heavily on a very robust fisheries industry. Salt marshes are also natural storm barriers. So as part of that story, I wanted to get sounds of the excavator digging up channels to help that marsh drain. And I also wanted to talk to the people who were doing that project in their words to describe what was happening.
We're trying to fix the plumbing of the salt marsh and allow for salt water that's getting trapped in the upper marshes to drain off so that the plants can come back and recolonize those areas.
It was pretty cold that day, but when I'm doing my job and it's really fun, the weather doesn't really matter. As long as I'm collecting audio and I'm doing my job, I really have a great time. When I hear a radio story, I usually imagine the pictures in my head, especially if the writing and the audio is really compelling. I think it's a really beautiful medium, and I think that the audio editing is really fun. I love putting things together. I love going out and meeting people. I love learning about new things. I love seeing new environments. Voicing, I would say, is really hard. We're asked to sound natural in a really unnatural setting. Like, for example, right now we're sitting in a studio and I'm supposed to speak into the microphone and pretend like I'm talking to somebody, but I have big headphones on and I'm alone in this room. I think you just have to be conversational. You have to like to tell stories, and everyone's going to have their own unique voice. You don't have to sound like anyone in particular. I mean, if you listen to public radio, you hear so many different types of voices, and so I think that's something that's really cool about public radio as well, that it's open to anyone who's a good storyteller. So I was born in El Salvador in Central America, and my family brought me to Los Angeles when I was 2 years old. So I grew up in Los Angeles. And having grown up surrounded by Hollywood, when I was little, I mentioned to my mom that I wanted to be an actress. I mentioned that to her when I was in 6th grade, and she said, Ambar, if you want to be on TV, you should consider maybe being a TV journalist, because that way you get to go to college and you get to be on TV. So my mom kind of planted the seed of wanting to be a journalist. When I went to high school, I got involved with my high school paper, and there was also a nonprofit teen newspaper in Los Angeles. I joined that staff on a volunteer basis and really fell in love with storytelling through my time at that nonprofit teen newspaper. I think a lot of people would say that for somebody who's an immigrant, who grew up in a single-parent home, a low-income single-parent home, that I probably shouldn't be where I am, that I've overcome a lot of obstacles. And I think a lot of that was my mom. She is a housekeeper and a nanny, and when I was little I'd go to work with her, and she worked in the UCLA neighborhood, and she would always say, I can't wait to see you with your backpack. I really see you walking through the UCLA campus with your backpack. And she would say that to me since I was a little girl, because she didn't have those opportunities, and because she wanted our family to take advantage of the opportunities that this country has to offer. My whole family, they're really proud, and it means a lot to them. I mean, they came to this country and have made a lot of sacrifices to give us the best opportunities, and so I think they're really just pleased and overjoyed that I took advantage of those opportunities.